huge monster.
Welcome back to the B-Movie Starship. Today's episode is a look back at perhaps the silliest entry to the James Bond series. In 1977, the end credits of The Spy Who Loved Me told the audiences that 007 would return in for Your Eyes Only. However, due to the massive success of Star Wars, the Bond producers decided to jump on the late 70s space craze bandwagon and put Agent 007 in a spacesuit. Don't remember that space craze? It brought us such gems as...
You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day. Yeah!
Now you remember. It's always tacky to ride the coattails of something more popular, but Moonraker's attempt is particularly cringeworthy. The script was obviously rushed, and putting Roger Moore in a science fiction environment did not turn out well at all. I mean, look at this poster. How could this not suck? Delaying For Your Eyes Only to rush out at this space junk was perhaps the biggest mistake the Bond producers ever made. Okay, second biggest. Now let's get this moon raking. Here's Moonraker. Roll it! The film opens with an airplane transporting a Moonraker space shuttle over England. Suddenly, two thugs climb into said spaceship and somehow launch it off the moving aircraft. Meanwhile, Bond is on a flight returning from his last mission.
Bond.
A little premature, isn't it?
Enjoy your flight.
Bond struggles with the captain, but is suddenly pushed out by Jaws, the steel-toothed henchman from the last movie. The mid-air fight scene between Bond, Jaws, and the pilot is actually pretty exciting, and probably is the best part of the film. Until the end of the fight, when Jaws' parachute doesn't open. It's played for laughs, but nobody's laughing. M orders Bond to investigate Drax Industries, the company that designed the Moonraker shuttle. Hugo Drax is the obvious villain of the piece, and he couldn't be any more of a stock megalomaniac. You know he wants to either take over or destroy the world as soon as you see him.
You have arrived at a propitious moment, coincident with your country's one indisputable contribution to Western civilization. Afternoon tea. May I press you to a cucumber sandwich?
Thank you, no, nothing at all.
Considering that the last Bond villain was the same thing, this is very disappointing. Oh look, he even has an evil ninja henchman.
Look after Mr. Bond. See that some harm comes to him.
Before Chang, and yes, that's really his name, can do any harm, Bond meets the obvious love interest.
Can I help you?
Yes, my name is Bond. James Bond. I'm looking for Dr. Goodhead.
Dr. Goodhead. For those who think Pussy Galore is too subtle.
You just found her.
A woman?
Your powers of observation do you credit, Mr. Bond.
James.
This is it. The Moonraker. Capable of being launched into space by rocket,
Orbiting the Earth and re-entering the atmosphere to land like any conventional aircraft.
Now do be dear and fuck off.
Come on, Mr. Bond. A 70-year-old can take 3 Gs.
Well, that might exclude him. Roger, when were you born?
14th century.
Drax takes Bond pheasant hunting, which really leads to the theory that Dick Cheney was just always a Bond villain. Yeah, that too.
You missed, Mr. Bond. Did I?
Bond's mission takes him to a glass factory in Venice. While snooping around the glass factory, Bond is attacked by Chang.
Play it again, son.
This requires Drax to hire a new henchman.
Now, regarding a replacement for Cha, you have someone in mind?
I mean, how's that work? Got some kind of service or something? Some kind of 800 number? 1-800 henchman?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you know, and I bet you're still on hold with, can I get another dead Asian hooker bitch over here right away?
Well, if you can get him, of course.
New one of those gotta be real hard to come by, right?
Yes, Jaws is back. Again. And in this movie, he's played for laughs, as opposed to his role in The Spy Who Loved Me, where he was a serious and kind of scary villain. Jaws catches up with Bond in Rio de Janeiro and attacks him on a cable car.
I might have guessed.
Do you know him?
Not socially. His name's Jaws. He kills people.
The fight scene that ensues is lame. The green screen effect looks rough, and then there's this. Oh, I don't think so. Drax kidnaps Dr. Goodhead, so Bond has to track them into the Brazilian jungle. He discovers Drax's secret lair inside an ancient temple and is captured immediately.
Mr. Bond, Dr. Goodhead, I bid you farewell.
Drax orders Bond and Dr. Goodhead killed as his army of henchmen load onto the Moonraker's space shuttles. Naturally, they escape and smuggle themselves on board one of the ships. So, with 30 minutes left in the film, we are finally going to space. The space shuttles take them to a massive space station that is invisible to radar, where Drax makes his, Bond villain speech?
Here, in the untainted cradle of the heavens, will be created a new super race, a race of perfect physical specimens. You have been selected as its progenitors. Like gods, your offspring will return to Earth and shape it in their image.
This was the plot of the last movie, except the villain's lair was underwater. And you know what? This was also the plot of World War II. But now, I guess, we have space Nazis. Bond and Goodhead knock out Drax's radar jamming system, so NASA spots the space station and sends up a space army to investigate. Meanwhile, Bond is captured again. Drax blows, his fourth opportunity to kill Bond by going off on another monologue. He even manages to get Jaws to turn against him by pretty much telling him to his face that he will be exterminated.
Receiving your new master race.
If you like, yes.
And of course, anyone not measuring up to your standards of physical perfection will be exterminated.
Certainly.
Interesting.
Nice plan. Bond knocks out the artificial gravity, so Drax sends out his space soldiers to fight the NASA troops. Then we get this visual. Then Space Godzilla shows up and eats them all. I wish he did. At least that would make this space battle interesting. How did they manage to make a laser battle boring? The NASA troops board the space station and overwhelm Drax's army. Bond confronts Drax, who blows another opportunity to kill him.
At least I shall have the pleasure of putting you out of my misery. Desolated Mr. Bond.
Heartbroken, Mr. Drax. Allow me. Take a giant step for mankind.
The final sequence is Bond and Goodhead piloting a spaceship and destroying 3 pods that are carrying a lethal toxin to Earth. There's actually a little bit of suspense to this scene, but at this point, I've totally checked out.
Automatic firing system negative. Must be the heat. Switching to manual.
His computer's off. Luke, you switched off your targeting computer. What's wrong?
Nothing. I'm all right.
Use the Force, Luke.
Force is strong in this one.
It's entering the Earth's atmosphere. James, this is our last chance.
What?
Yahoo!
Steady.
Look out!
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home. Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
The movie ends in typical Bond fashion.
We have audiovisual.
Ah, at last.
My God, what's Bond doing?
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
This is the 3rd film I reviewed that ends with the main characters fucking on camera for a bunch of creepy old men. And we're 2 for 2 for Bond movies. It's obvious that putting James Bond in space was a bad decision, but this movie was already one of the worst Bond films ever before he even gets there. This movie is hokey, padded, and tries way too hard to be funny, but none of the jokes work, and that's including Jaws, who is essentially turned into a cartoon. In fact, none of the villains work. Drax is perhaps the most uninspired Bond villain to date, and at no point is he intimidating. At best, he looks like an evil Al Borland. And Dr. Goodhead is neither exciting nor attractive. They screwed up the Bond girl? How is that even possible? Bottom line, Moonraker represents everything that is wrong with the 007 series, and delaying the release of For Your Eyes Only for this space turd was perhaps the worst insult of all. This movie bored me to tears. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, okay. Yes, okay. Come on, baby, give it to me. Yes, yes, yes. No, no!
I see that moon horizon. I see trouble on the way. I see earthquakes and lightning. I see bad times today. Don't go around tonight, or it's bound to take your life.
God damn, what a terrible movie. Roger didn't know what the hell he was doing half the time he was on the set.